Hi, class. I wanted to give you some video feedback. First, I want to tell you what a good job you're doing. This was pretty much, for some of you, your first website of your professional work, and you have been striving to include all the components that were required. And I'm really impressed with where you are. And some of these are just so close to being finished, there's very little that you will need to do at this time. You will be moving on over the next year or so, and you'll have more work, and it'll be original work that you'll add, and so you'll revisit this, all right? All right, so I'm going to jump right in. Julia, this is really great. It's a great site. Nice and clean, easy to read navigation, logos clean, nice professional image. I think you want to double check your spacing. I know we've got it justified right and left, but we want to close up some of that tracking. So I do like that it is designed this way, but I think you're going to have to try a left align and maybe break these where you want, or you can, add some words here and there to help it look like this, but we've got a little too much tracking. Okay, your links are working. That's great. And again, same thing here. It's the spacing. You'll remove these placeholder images. You don't have very many, and I know that they are copyright free, but you'll want to take care of that. Making sure that you are using the same text. It looks like you might be. Let's see. So if I click here, good. I'm sending you a link because Florida has some specific laws when it comes to theme parks and photos. Okay, so I'm sending that with your feedback on FSO. Let's update your copyright down here. Very good, you're linked up. Double check the spacing here. It just seems like a lot here and tight here. Maybe this just needs to be a little less tight and this a little tighter, okay? But you have time to work through that, right? Let's see, going back here. Okay. Checking these links. Okay. We want to get into the content quicker. So, this white space, this might be a little much. We want to, get into it, which looks really great. This is really nice for your site. You've chosen great accent colors. Really good. I like the way you've separated your work. Eventually, over the next year, you'll want to replace this because everyone's going to have this that you graduate with, and you want to make sure you have original designs here. Okay, original concepts. Okay, but you've done a really good job of laying it out. You'll make sure your spacing is the same here and here between the work and your asset guide, just that kind of thing. And you'll want to use maybe this color darker in places if it's an accent. I do have a question about the way you have a drop-down. Drop-downs can get in the way. Sometimes they're not necessary. So oftentimes logos are a part of graphic design. Okay, so you could have a page that has logos like you've done here. All right, because when I look at the illustrations, they're not that different, really. And it's not so much illustration as design. Okay, so let's align this here with that. And when I say design, because this is photo editing, and illustration at its best is going to be drawn or, something like that. This is your logo over images, and you've got some photo editing. All right, so maybe that's something you really like to do, and you would say photo editing instead of illustrations and design. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All of that could come under graphics, and this could go with it, with a title that separates it, like this, the way you've done here. And I know it's a little bit of scrolling right now, and then photo editing, but you're probably going to take this out. I don't mind the way, at least they're the same ratio, which is very good, and you'll want to strive to do that as you have here. Okay. You could ultimately, another way to do it is to separate this by projects. Like, here is the After Effects, here's the logo, and beside it, the After Effects. Here's the logo, and beside it, the photo editing. I do like the way you have this, however. Excuse me. So it's not really what I'm recommending. I am recommending that we not have 3 different pages for this drop down. If you are going to have drop downs, it's better usually to have it left aligned with the actual page up here. What you can do, this could be, oftentimes it could be photography or graphic design, and then you could have maybe 2 words or something, photography and graphics, right? Because right now it's under the about, but it isn't, and typically it will need a little space. I like the size that you have this, but if you're going to do this, you might have to go a little bit smaller, not so much that it's noticeable. Okay, so this is good in that it doesn't cover anything on this page, and this is a good page. We have to be careful about how we use logos, but I think it's okay if, it's just saying where you went to school. This is good. It's nice and consistent. You can see what I'm talking about here. It starts to overlap content. And here. So that's kind of the challenge with drop-down menus. I don't think it's impossible to put the particular skills under the same umbrella, but you have to be really careful. Okay. Okay. But otherwise, the layout is really strong. It's really a great site. You might go for black icons here or white. We do have to be very careful. We can't change them and make them any way we want because of copyright. But this is a terrific site, and I'm anxious to see what you're going to be doing this time next year. Really good job, Julia. Okay, this one, I think for this particular image, you're going to want to crop the background for sure. These are placeholders, so templates and template. Okay. Placeholder. We need to link up let's see, that's good because that's what you go by. We want to freeze your header navigation so that it's always there. Otherwise, we have to scroll back up. If I go here, this is all template. That can go. Just delete that. Okay. If you didn't take that, you want to replace it with something that you did take. Left align, copy, text. And these loaded very slowly for me, so when you do put your images up, you want to make sure they're optimized. Okay, so this is confusing, right? Because it looks like template. Template, template, and template. Okay, what I'm looking at is the home page. Left align this. Okay, so you've got several hours, to bring this up to where you want it, and links need to be working too. All right, I look forward to seeing how it turns out when you put some time into it. Hi, Kat. When I saw this, my first thought was, I wondered what this would look like with a circle. I mean, I don't know what the padding would be on the sides versus the top, but I wondered how it would look without these squares, corners. This font, I think, should be, because they're both sort of a script, I would use just one if that's what you're going to do. Red on black is difficult to see. I think I would bring your footer down here. It's possible this could be your logo. If it were round, I think that might work best. I really liked this, your goal. That was great. You want to capitalize K. Let's see. Good job linking up. And yeah, make sure your header is down there on the home page too. Make sure you're checking your spelling. All right. And same thing for this, the drop-down menus. It's a temptation for people to put all of their skills on one page, and sometimes they don't belong. I'm not saying that's the case here, but sometimes we need to, like I say, with logos and illustration and design, sometimes that's design or graphics or graphic design. And then these are just subheadings on the same page. Unless you have a ton of work, but even then, it's going to have to fall under an umbrella. And if you have a lot of work, sometimes photography is its own site and graphics are their own site, depending on how much you have. Okay, it's a little bit about that. We go here. Okay. Covers that. We want to make this all consistent. Okay. All these headers. Okay. I'm not sure you need the logos here. I probably wouldn't put all of this. I think rather than scrolling, maybe you have two columns and a little less difference here, the red and black for your headers. I would make it hierarchy, yes, make it larger than this, but I'd probably left align these headers, or they could be centered, but have 2 columns and remove the logos. I realize this probably comes with the template, but that's what I would do in this case. I did like this, and I think that more focus on this would be kind of a good direction. Like over the next year, maybe you volunteer doing some graphic design for people, and then you would add that, okay? Okay. This is kind of overdone. We want all of our headers to be the same. You have it here, and that's okay. It's just a little bit of rectangle stacking there that I think could be streamlined. Okay, now what I loved was this page. These are really good. I see a lot of photography, and this is right up there with the best. And ordinarily, students will just put a ton of work that are all from the same location, and I can tell this is the same model, but she's in different places, and it does, feel like a series and different portrait shots. It's really very nice, and it's enough that you have this. I would not say she's your niece. I don't think it's necessary. She could easily be a client's child. Okay. And again, these aren't helping, and they're just adding to the scrolling. I think you want to get right into your photography on this page. Okay. And then this could go to the bottom if you like, or maybe it would stay here, but I would just have photography here. You might end up letting go of this script in both cases. You might try a nice sans serif that is easy to read instead of all that, all right? I would think about that. The logos, again, these could be interesting how you've done this. I would left align them. These, and eventually replace this. You don't need to say that, and we don't need that. We just need logos. Again, that would be design work. So you could just have photography and, graphics, and that would include logos and anything like this. By next year, you'll replace some of this. I know right now you don't have a lot. Most students don't at this stage, but next year you will. Okay, and again, let's just bring the content up and have a nice consistent heading there in a sans serif. That would be my recommendation for this site. And bring this footer down. So a couple of sweeping changes, but not too much work. Again, that could be a logo. This I do love. I love this photo. All right. Well done. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the revisions on this one and seeing how you like it. All right. Okay, Jennifer, you have your tagline here. That's great. One of the things I wanted to see, though, was fingerprint. You have it down here, and I really liked it. If it's not taken, that's something you'd have to see, but don't do a search for it. Maybe go to copyright for the government site, but a search, sometimes people will see that you're searching. That's how they make money off that, and then they buy it and sell it to you for a much higher cost. If you decide to use it, the thing to do would be to get your domain, go to Wix or whomever, and put the name that you want to buy, and then buy it at that moment. It might be anywhere from $20 to $40 to buy that. But you would also find out at the same time if somebody already has it. Okay, so, but if, I've seen people do a search, they really have a great name for something, and somebody else buys it and charges them $4,000. So be smart about that. Not a fan typically ever of tiled images. Okay. It's fine if it's a pattern, a design, and it's meant to be, but not a fan, especially when it's a photo. So I would clean this page up. Yeah, as clean as these are, because that's the style of this site. Okay. Eventually, you'll replace that with one of your own. This is a template page. It looks like some work has been put in, but we need asset guides and so forth to tell us what your role was. Let's center your social media. Okay. Okay. We scrolled through a lot. You might want to put this on a separate page, okay? Because when we have to scroll up and down projects, this shifts to the right, and that starts up here. It would have to be, it is anchored to this, but I think you need a separate page for that, so that doesn't happen. You might be able to put, well, this is going to be, okay. Yeah, this could be another page too, if you plan on posting a lot of things. And I would call it something that is a little more descriptive of what it actually is. Your social media, you have follow me here, but it might be Instagram or just to say my life isn't very descriptive. So I would do something about that. Change that up to something a little more standard, more of a web standard, something that describes what you're doing. So we say graphic design. Okay, yeah, your asset guides are going to help. All right, so make sure you remove all template, and I look forward to seeing where this is going to go. Good job. Okay, this one I love, and it's a good, solid site. When I first landed here, and it won't do it for you because you will already have it, what this needs to have done is make this a lower file size, because it's coming up very fuzzy. And I thought it was an animation, but it didn't. I waited and it really didn't, come into focus until I came back to the page. So you want to make sure that it's optimized so it's clear when it loads the first time. I do love it. Make sure you check out your spelling everywhere, presentation. All of these links they are anchored to the right places. Your headers are all the same. I love that. And when we click on this, you've got your asset guide. So really kudos on this. It's a great site. It's a nice, simple, clear site. All right. So well done. Just a couple of things, like I was saying. All right. Good job. Okay, Owen. We have kind of some stacking here. It's not the biggest issue. Think about that. I think left aligning your asset guides, because in some places it gets a little confusing on the shape. When you go into this template, you probably can adjust the transparency of the content here behind it, the box, the overlay, and I think it needs to be a little less transparent so we can read the copy, okay? Which means the square behind it, the shape, is going to be a little darker. Yes, it will show less of the image behind it. You can still show a little, but you'll be able to read it, and that's important. Nice. Left align those. I would use a different color here than red. I would use this color, okay, for your highlight here. Good job here. I'm not personally a fan of having to look for the navigation down here, but you know, it's not the biggest thing. I like that you said Adobe Creative Cloud, because if people look for this Adobe, you know, they may do a search for this. This image also came up very slowly, so it will need to be optimized so it's not so large that it takes a long time to load. I think this is a lot of space for 1.5 line. We try not to have one word on a line, okay? Maybe you add a little more so that you can have, you know, 2 paragraphs, all right? And yeah, these are fine. It's a very simple site, and that's what I like about it. I can see the information I need right away, and that's all good. I think you're going to want these to make a rectangle instead of this shape that you have, which looks a lot like the shape that the knight would move in on a board, right? I think you want it to be in a rectangle, whatever you have to do that. Yeah, all right. All right, looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out. Well done. Okay, Shakita, as we go through, I see an opportunity for you. You have the mock-up here of the phone. I think you could do it here too, okay? If you're a media communicator, then I think that if that's what you're saying, and you are, then I think that you'll want to do that. Social media manager, I'm not sure what you mean there. Okay, so check that out. This is the template. It's the template logo. You'll need to link and watch the way these things are wrapping. This looks like it's beginning with the, you know, period. Don't know that it is, but it looks that way. And you've got 2 periods there. So make sure you put everything through a grammar check, everything. I see if you're doing that here. Not the same here. Your headers are the same. That's good. This is still template. You do have content here. Let's make all of your asset guides identical. Okay. And not so much scrolling. Okay.
Here's a reminder.
Okay. And I would have that come to about here. So move the anchor up a little bit, and I would put that in a mock-up. Close up this. I don't know that I would use these. I think I would just center this information. I think that page will be cleaner that way. And capitalize the C. Be consistent with that. You have, if you get a degree, it's going to be in a very specific. So it would be a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Arts, and you're getting a Bachelor of Science if you're at Full Sail. Okay. Yeah, I would just center this and be prepared to maybe add more. You don't need that image there. It's not really helping a lot. You have to update your copyright, close this space up. This is needs to be reduced. It could be one page, frankly. Projects, and then media tools and logos would be on the same one. This spelling template, you'll remove this eventually because these aren't really original per se. Like I say, it's a class project, which isn't so bad when you're talking about, you know, your logos, because those are all different. Okay. You can take off fictitious in this particular case, and you'll want to make this consistent with this. The spacing would be the same. That would be a capital. This has a bullet. These do not. You don't need the bullet. Yeah, consistency. Okay. This template image isn't awesome. I would just use the orange that you're using, peach, back here, solid. And I would get into that work quicker, which means just logos and getting into this, right? So peach, logos, getting into it. It could be, you know, design, but we don't need so many pages. You probably just need one to change work to projects, or keep it work, take out the projects and just put those on one page, all of your projects on one page with a simple header separating it. Okay, how this is, I would use this throughout, right? We do this, we do that. I would put that on its own page and have your one for logos, you know, one for media tools if you like. But basically it's all graphics in this case, and template. Okay, so linking up, you know, close this up. You have some streamlining to do and updating of template, okay? But it could be very nice, right? Great start. Hi, Lily. Very nice. I really liked your style guide. I like, you know, how you have your footer down here. These links seem to be working. You have, you know, enough of this for your hello. I kind of like a home page because I had to come over here, and this, maybe I would like to see it a little lighter, brighter, but, you know, I know to click on it. And I thought this was fine. You do mention fictitious. That's okay. I think it's fine. You don't have the work showing, but that's okay. That would be in your projects. And I did like this. I think a little more space. It seems a little tight. And if you want, because this is the only place I see this, and as long as it was consistent, you could use it over and over. But, well, I see it here too. Okay, you can reduce some of these terms if you want. You know, you could just say role, title, asset, you know, if you want, as long as you're consistent with it. If you want to streamline that a little bit. And I like what you've done with this. This is nice. I wonder if I click on it, if it's going to take me to the site, because you can embed sites into Wix that will function. I don't know if it's loading. Okay. All right, so you can take a look at that. Nice touch. Okay. You might be able to rename these and just, call it Brew Barbershop. You do want to be careful, everybody, when you are using your thumbnails, that they are not being cropped either. Okay, this one's okay, but we've got this one, it's completely cropped. So you want to reduce the size of those thumbnails. All right, I see that a lot. Good work, nice. The contact, nice and clean. I liked it. I thought maybe it was you had an opportunity to kind of pick this theme up once in a while. Not much, but maybe a little twig here or there. It's just a thought to kind of tie things in a little. You don't need it, but it is only showing up there. All right, well done. You just have a little bit of tweaking, right? Good work. Hi, Rick. Immediately, when I look at this, I think, well, this is going to be an interesting site. I can tell by the image, and it's got a nice bold name, and I can tell what you do. That's awesome. I would like to see the logo larger. And this content, if you want to use this image, needs to come over to this area where it can be read. The contrast isn't here. We can't read it where it is. So you may have to edit it a little bit to make it look right over here. I don't know, you would, because it would go longer. But that's probably the best solution. Since this isn't moving, it seems like a static photo, so I would just move this over. Okay. I think that's an important part for you. Again, making sure that your work, when it's put into a thumbnail, is not being cropped. This is perfect, right? Again, if you need to, this is a lot of text. If you can cut that down. Okay. Let's see. And have the same type of titling if you can. Possibly left a line because those shapes are not consistent. But you do a good job with your thumbnails and how you have them cropped. They're okay. There's just a couple of places you want to be careful. And yeah, if you need to, you can make the background. It's not bad. I was thinking about the level of transparency so you can read this. Really depends on the image. It's not bad. This is one where the lettering is cropped. Okay. But nice and consistent. Okay, and I've looked through that. These are all linked. Okay. Nice. And the only thing is you want that to open in a new window if we can't go back. And that was the number one thing about this site. This site needs to have navigation at the top. Okay, so we're not scrolling and looking for things. You give us that, okay? All right, so otherwise this is going to be a strong site. You've got enough work, and that's going to be really good in that case. Okay, Michael, you have a great personality and a great outlook. It really comes through. Your experience comes through. There's, just a few minor things. You are going from beginning sentences with a capital to not beginning sentences with a capital. So in the beginning, I thought, oh, this needs to be capitalized, but I would see it so often, I wasn't sure if it was, in fact, a style or not, except it's not consistent. So if it's a style, it's going to be clearly a style and consistent, like that would be a capital, that would be caps, so that was something that struck me. I think you do have this larger, maybe that needs to be the same as that. I don't mind it, it's easy to read, but I do notice that it's that way. And we go here. I looked at these. They're really awesome and great selections. I like that you have some free things. Make sure when you're spelling YouTube that the Y is capped and the T is capped. And eventually, pretty soon, go ahead and download. I know I have it in web design. I might have it in editing for the web, also in the resources. Look at the social media branding guides like Twitter's and Facebook, because they're very particular about how they can be used. So, make sure you're looking into that. Perhaps you already have, but just make sure you're on top of that too. I really like this. This was all really good. Let's see. That's really kind of the only thing there. I liked the list that you have, and it's out of the way, right? Portfolio, your contact. Okay. Okay. Thought there was maybe one. Oh, well, there is one little thing. When we go through this, there's a particular shot right here that shows the thumbnail. So actual nail. If I were you, I would either, it'd be a lot to Photoshop all those frames, but maybe that's not the best. Maybe you edit it before it gets that close or something. That's the only thing. I did notice it. And everything else is such high quality. I would like that to be also. Okay. There was another place where you mentioned your friend and it needed a comma. So I think you want to just, put it through grammar check, all your paragraphs. I always enjoy seeing the process, so I like this kind of thing. And it would be nice to then see what comes after it, the outcome of your planning. Good. When we go to it, okay, we have that, which we pretty much know what you're doing for this. I have to go back here. But let's be somewhat consistent. If you're going to, give us the so-called asset guide for one, then, maybe you do it for the others. I kind of like this, and I love, honestly, when you submit your work like this, it's a lot more interesting for me to watch, a little upbeat. YouTube, the spelling. But I really enjoy these. So 20-second editing for YouTube, lower thirds. Yeah. I love that you tell us exactly what you're doing. I just would be, and is this the one? No. Yeah. A comma here instead of a period. Yeah, just some minor consistencies. Yeah. All right. And this brings us back. All right. So, yeah, I know you already had a lot of this in the works, but, you'll continue to add work throughout the year, hopefully. And I know you already have some things that are really useful for you. All right. Great job. All right. Nice. nice and simple. Everyone, over the next year, you'll be able to get, this is a good photo, but you'll be able to all get a headshot simply by using your cell phone and searching through your dwelling for windows, natural light. You'll be surprised what you can get, being aware of your background and the lighting. All right, so that's something you can practice throughout the year. And some of you, some of you will go out on photo shoots and end up with some headshots as well. Plus, you'll look different. So, when I say great photo, I'm aware that that's probably going to change before you launch. I would remove your phone number, okay, unless it's dedicated to a Google Voice or something. Okay. Yeah, some people won't notice this, but ending a sentence with, a grammar check might correct that for you. If it doesn't, fine, but I think it might. Okay. The link is working. I think, rather than this, you could have a contact form. Like you have here. Okay. We are not really able to use the Full Sail logo, that I know. So maybe the logos of the school aren't necessary. Maybe using skills twice isn't necessary. Maybe that one can go. Let's left align these items. I see you have this and this, but maybe you say, if what you're looking at is to, be more of Adobe, operator and designer, then maybe this is all left aligned. This says Adobe, and you can take that off for your website. People are going to look at it for your skills, not so much for your history. Okay, I would take those off. Take all these off and just keep it a nice simple page with not a lot of visual distractions for your skills. Eventually, you want to make sure you're not cropping your thumbnails. Okay, nice. You would find a way to, let's see, enter content to that. The cupcake may be a little too large. You saw it took a little bit of time to load. Okay, I see how you're doing this. If I scroll, which means maybe I need an arrow. Okay, let's capitalize that and that. We just want to be consistent is the main thing, okay? Probably a little more here. And I think eventually maybe a cupcake logo here. Maybe not the one that you have created here. Maybe more of an outline of a cupcake, black and white line drawing to go up here. And you can put Ashton's Cupcakery and Cakes. I think that should go up here. Or take this out and put Ashton's in a larger font, and then underneath it, Cupcakery and Cakes as a logo instead of this, all right? I think that would be a good start for you. All right, nice work. You've got your requirements that were here and just some tweaking to top it off, all right? Good job. Okay. Let's take a look. Kara, I'm not sure you need the search function there. It's a little distracting. This needs, you know, it's a template, so that needs to be updated. Okay. Close the kerning up just a little between those. Okay. Try not to have one word on the line, but, you know, make sure you've taken that through, you know, multiple times, everybody, because we miss those things. Take it through Grammarly, and if you like, you can go through language tools also, which is Chrome. Sometimes I find separate catches depending on, you know, which spell checker I'm using. Okay. Right. See, because that's going to look a little odd too. That's not why we do it, but we just try not to have something by itself like that. One of the reasons is because if it were, let's say, up here, it would look like it was double spaced, you know, tripled space or something. And it changes your layout, the feel of it. Okay. Okay. Good. This is a good template for this, isn't it? You're going to want to raise this up and make sure these are all the same, right? In a grid, which is going to be easy, I say, but it should be. Okay. So okay, I like to get into the page a little sooner, into the work without, you know, scrolling too much. It's just something to think about. Okay. Okay, nice and clean. Valencia's a great school. I'm sure all of these are that you all attend. I just happen to know about that one personally. Okay. The contact always goes last, and this feels like a picture of words. Okay, so some are linked or trying to link. We won't need it in two places, okay, just one down here, I think. And let's move that to the right. We also have it up here, so, you know, maybe you want to be consistent with this style and try not to have it. This is 3 times on this page, so we don't need it more than once. And this you'll need to disable because it's not really connected to yours, okay? All right, and that's easy to do, taking that off. Okay, great start. I think you have a good color palette going. We just need to get rid of some of the template and clean up some things. I'm not sure I like this. I've come back to it because it wasn't sitting right with me. Making sure that you say this someplace else. Yeah, let's see. Thinking about it, for me, you know, either put photography at the top, social media expert on the bottom, and take this out. You can separate it with just a bar, a line. You could move it. You could extend the box, but it's not feeling quite right. And if you put this on top, at least you'll have a pyramid. And this isn't quite an inverted pyramid. Just a detail. This space is bothering me. Okay, great job. I love the colors. I love, where you're going with this. All right, nice work. Okay, everybody. Now I think that we have graded everything that was submitted. There'll be more, but they won't be added to this particular video. Okay, so you won't be submitting this again. You will be looking at each other's and receiving feedback. So you will have the opportunity to pick this up again when you enter web design next year. You will have changed, you'll have more work, and you'll be surprised when you go back and see, how you've grown and just how you've changed. All right. So good work. I love getting to know you a little better and seeing the work that you do. And, this week is week 4. You will have break starting next week. So I wish everybody a safe and happy holiday.